Hello there, and welcome to the AskWxm podcast, a podcast where we answer your questions on Wrexham Football Club, Wrexham as a place, and all other sorts of things. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC, and firstly, this is a bit different. I don't know if you noticed, but something kind of cool happened on Saturday. And there's actually, interestingly, been a lot fewer questions than normal because everybody's too busy just making excellent statements about how things happen. So the tone of this will be slightly different because I want to give you a sense of what I've been seeing on AskWxm. So AskWxm, of course, hashtag AskWxm. Use it on Twitter or Blue Sky to get in touch during games or whenever, and we'll try to answer your questions during commentary or if not on this podcast. But like I said, this is a back-to-back-to-back edition, special edition. So let's kick off. Kenneth Ryan James, how does it feel to go back-to-back-to-back? Congratulations, Wrexham AFC. How does it feel? Well, let me tell you, pretty good. To be honest, it is astounding. I've got to be honest with you. A lot of people, obviously, it's a question to ask, isn't it? I've been asking me how I feel about it, and if I'm frank, I think I'm kind of, I don't want to say I've got ice in the blood, but I think I do tend to take things in my stride, and I think over the years I've conditioned myself to be like that with football, because, I tend to be, don't get too low with the lows, don't get too high with the highs, and I think the conditioning element is because I know during the matches I'm doing a job, so I need to stick to a job. But even so, and even though I'm a bit like that, I've just been a bit hyper the last few days, a bit overexcited, if I'm honest. It is astounding, and I just can't help closing the circle back to 1982 when we drop out of the Championship after our only 4 years at that level, to think we're going in there and we've got serious hope that we can hit it running and try to make an impact this time is a mind-blowing thought. I guess that's the thing that's uppermost in my mind, apart from also thinking back to 15 years in non-league and just feeling how that just feels like a different dimension now to what we're experiencing. Gosh. Ben Parker, I love this. I can't believe I'm in tears for a club I've never seen live, literally on the other side of the globe, back to back to back. So proud of this club, the players, coaches, support staff, and especially the owners. I just want to give Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds a big hug. Don't we all? Don't we all? It's so wonderful how it shows the power of sport and the power of storytelling, that people like yourself who've never been here just feel so emotional about it. And you're right to point out the people who've done well, and like I said, especially the owners. We will look at a few more people who deserve praise in a moment for some of your messages, but the owners have just transformed everything and transformed Wrexham, the place itself. It's just mind-blowing. But like I said, I'm going around being all hyper. I feel there's an awful lot of people in town feeling exactly the same way. It's this welcome to Wrexham stuff. It's very, very good for your mental health, Steve Coonsley, now let's have a look at a few individual performances. Steve says we want Arthur to get his clean sheet today. That was sent in before the Charlton match. Well, he did get his clean sheet, of course, and that equals a couple of records: most league clean sheets kept in a season by Wrexham, and most clean sheets kept in a season by Wrexham. Okonkwo is not at the top of the list of the goalkeepers who kept the most clean sheets because he did miss a little chunk of the season injured. In fact, it's interesting to see how many goalies, just shows how well they've all done standing in when needed. How many goalies have kept clean sheets? Because obviously Callum Burton has, Mark Howard has, Ben Foster has in the Virtue Trophy as well. It's really quite striking to see just how many keepers we've been able to rely on to do a good job. But yes, Arthur's had a phenomenal season. His defence have had a phenomenal season, and yeah, it's certainly a record-equalling season. If we do well on Saturday, it could be a record-beating season, couldn't it? Steve also says, and I think this is one I want to dwell on for a bit. You think Parky knew what he was doing when he built this team? Yeah, well said, Steve. I reckon he did. I mean, it's amazing. A couple of weeks ago, people naysaying, suggesting Parkinson's not the man for the job. Really? I mean, no football manager obviously has ever achieved this. 3 back-to-back promotions in British professional football. No football manager has done that with any club. This is an incredible thing to have on his CV. And I'm not disagreeing with the decisions necessarily, but I think it's a big compliment to Chris Davis, the Birmingham manager, that he won the EFL Manager of the Season. I mean, obviously all these things are subjective, and you could make a strong case for other people to win it. I'm not arguing against it. I think Davis is a really worthy winner because he's come in for his first job in management, in charge of a club which has an influx of money, and often that goes badly wrong initially before things settle down. He's done that exceptionally well, Davis, to manage expectations, to keep his squad going, to get the best out of those players, and to get them playing the sort of football they play, which has been brilliant to watch. So I'm not saying this is a poor decision, but it shows how well Davis has done, because Parkinson's just made history and he wasn't given the award. And likewise, you look at Gary Bowyer at Burton, who has saved them. They drew their midweek game, their game in hand. They're safe now. And when you remember the mess they were in when we went there earlier in the season, wow, he's done a jaw-dropping job. You could look at Reading as well, quite frankly, I think, and say, look at them in the second half of the season. So there's a lot of people who would have been very, very worthy winners of the Manager of the Season award. Very worthy. And it's a huge compliment to Davis that he got it. But Parkinson, well, yeah, he knew what he was doing. We're on the longest unbeaten run in the league at the moment, and our longest unbeaten run of the season. Once again, he's prioritised character, and he's come up with a squad that when the chips are down and you have to perform, get results. I think that's a pretty good definition of a good manager, isn't it? I love their Sherry, only here for the Wrexhams, has a screen grab. They used the wrong intro graphics for the Charlton game, and she's put it up there. It's the Sky Bet Championship badge. And she says, coincidence? I choose prescience. Yes, that ability to see into the future by the EFL can only mean one thing. It was effects. Oh no, I didn't say that. I'm sorry, but I love that. That's crazy, isn't it? Put us in the championship already. I wonder if that would have been legally binding. Ned Canada says, my watch is alerting me to my high heart rate while not moving. Yeah, and my watch was alerting me to high decibel levels because the racecourse was deafening. But yeah, footy will do that to you, won't it? Your heart's pounding while you're just sitting there. I hope you're okay, Ned. Okay? I hope you're okay. Surround yourself with good people. Scoots Magoots, congratulations on your name, first of all. Says, watching on Paramount up here in Montana, but obviously I have it muted so I can listen to the home broadcast. Scoots, you're a smart guy. The squeals Mark just made for Smith's goal were incredible. Still haven't been able to settle the dog. I went super high pitched, didn't I? Yeah, it wasn't deliberate, it wasn't preconceived, but I discovered octaves I never knew I had. But it was one hell of a goal, wasn't it? I mean, what a strike, and he nailed it. You get goals like that where if your technique's good, you can actually sort of, I won't say mishit it, but you can not get the contact right and it'll still fly in. But that was the sweetest hit at the meat of his foot you could imagine. So please forgive me for going super high pitched.
Matty James now, 35 yards out, dinks it in for Smith, 1-on-1! Oh, it's there, 2-0!
Right, some more performances on Saturday. Wrexham fan nails it. Big shout out to Dan Scarr. Kept a good attitude and stayed ready. Came up huge in huge games. Oh my word, that is so very, very true. Scarr was outstanding. He comes in half time at Bristol Rovers, against Bristol Rovers, does really, really well in that second half. He's outstanding at Blackpool. He's outstanding at Charlton. And I'm not using that word lightly. We brought him in as a star signing. I think I've said previously, lots of clubs, press were saying, hang on, how come Scarr's not starting? Because he was very much brought in as, this guy's an established high-quality championship player who will take us up to the next level. But, you know, Owen O'Connell was playing so well, Scarr couldn't get in. But yeah, exactly right, Wrexham fan. To keep himself ready for action and prepared to go is a sign of incredible professionalism. To suck it up, because it must have been disappointing to be not getting regular games, is really impressive. And that Bristol Rovers game was the first time he was on the pitch since the Virtue Trophy semi-final, and the first league game, if I remember correctly, since about February. And yet he comes in and his levels are the highest they've been all season. Utterly outstanding. And he sees us over the line. Huge credit to him. Absolutely correct. And speaking of people who deserve huge credit, a lot of people said, I've got Wrexham fans here, Ollie Rathbone is a big moment guy. Opener so important. Ice in the veins. Oh, Rathbone's just been phenomenal, hasn't he? I mean, he's another player who's brought in having done well in the Championship, and he has delivered. He has done what we hoped. He's been a brilliant midfielder for us, and he's Championship ready, of course. But he scored more goals in his career, this season, than any other season in his career. Never scored 8 before, and he's come up with really important goals as well, hasn't he? So often the first goal is what he scores. Ollie Rathbone has been an absolutely inspired signing, no two ways about it. Luke as well said, watching yesterday's highlights, Matty James's assist for Smith's first was exquisite. And I think Matty James has been another sensational signing. I mean, it's difficult to believe that when he left Bristol City, nobody signed him. Well, why didn't they sign him? The guy is clearly quality. He's last 3 seasons, he's in each of them started over 30 games in the Championship. This guy's playing at a high level. And I mean, why has no one snapped him up? Well, we did. Well, again, great work, Phil Parkinson. He's made an immense difference to our season. He is such a good player. And the technique for Smith. I mean, Smith does his job beautifully. But the reason he's able to is that James puts the ball exactly where he needs it. Exactly. I mean, a straight pass like that is going to go through to the keeper 99 times out of 100. The straight pass from deeper is the most difficult pass in the game. You know, picking out a striker, you have to do it with pinpoint accuracy. And that's exactly what he did. And it was a really high quality moment. And also, just to remind, it's a good weekend as well. On Sunday, there's old Mia Roberts. You know her, don't you? She scored in the cup final. Falkland did know they beat Vellinhelly 3-1 in the North Wales Coast FA Cup. Yeah, and she got the opener. Wrexham, eh? Good old Wrexham. The women's team lost in the Welsh Cup final, which was such a shame. We go back and look at the other podcasts to good old Mia. She gave us another trophy over the weekend. Well done, you. Jekka, oh my gosh. Jekka says, hi Mark, me and my boyfriend met you in the turf last night. This is Friday night. We discussed your cats and curb your enthusiasm, among other things. The other half was going to ask you to propose on his behalf at half time. Whoa. Steve Kunze says, that would be an Ask Wrexham first. I'm still available if you need me for your romantic need. Oh, that came out wrong, didn't it? You know, I'll train up to be a minister. I'll get the certificate if you want, and we'll do it on the roof of the Wrexham Lager stand. No problem. That your partner, has got great wisdom. That's all I can say. What a choice! What a choice that would have been. JD Lightning points out something which actually matters to me. Birmingham can no longer beat our 111-point season record. They can only tie it if they win their last 3 matches, and I don't feel like sharing. I'm recording this. What time is it now? Oh, they'll have just kicked off in their game in hand, their midweek game. I love that. I mean, we've done the back-to-back-to-back is astonishing, and it's the first time anyone's done it, and you're going to have to do something incredible to match that. I thought the 111 would be very, very difficult to match, and yet, fair play, Birmingham have dominated. So yeah, but I'm thrilled. At worst, we'll still have a tie of that record, because I love having that record. We had the best season in the history of English professional football, and we've also had the 3 consecutive best seasons in the history of English football. Let's let that soak in for a bit. Isn't that incredible? I think that might be why, the owners were getting a little bit of praise before. Just saying. Now, Bryant says, I love this. So you're telling me I have to learn a whole other league worth of teams again? I know it's a terrible imposition, isn't it? And the madwoman of Charlotte said, that's what I said. I always Google map the teams in town, see how far fans travel. 23 new teams to investigate. Oh, Birmingham, don't worry, we know them. And the playoff winners. So yeah, I think that's all part of the beauty of it, isn't it? I've got to say, from a personal perspective, when I was a kid, if Wrexham had an away game that wasn't local, my dad and I would still go to a match on the Saturday. We'd just find a random game. And it meant, I'm not a ground hopper. I'm not somebody who looks to make all 92 clubs and go to all their grounds. But having said that, I have by accident accumulated an awful lot of them. And funnily enough, the clubs I've missed out on have tended to be the ones currently in the Championship. So maybe I should start keeping a tally again, because I'm going to tick off, I think I thought 7 new clubs I haven't been to. That's a long time since I've been to that many new places. And also at least 1 who play in a different stadium to where I saw them before. So let's see if I can remember. The 3 relegated teams. I've never been to Southampton or Ipswich or Leicester. I've never been to Sunderland, and I've never been to Middlesbrough. I've never been to... I can't remember the other 2 now. What a mug. I don't know. But also Swansea is the one. I've been to the old Vetch. That was a stadium and a half, and a real creaky old affair, but very characterful. But I've never been to the was it Swansea.com stadium it's called, isn't it? So yeah, there's some new ones for me. There's 2 more that I've forgotten that I've never been to. Oh, Norwich is one of them. And there's still 1 more. So it's going to be really interesting, I've got to say. I'm going to get to see a lot of new places. And I was told by the BBC guys on Saturday that when you hit the Championship, it's not just the level of competition that ramps up. The quality of catering for the press ramps up too. So I may just enjoy myself. I didn't gloss over the rest of the madwoman of Charlotte's, or Shiloh, maybe I should say, his message, saying, I'm thinking we'd be damn lucky to end up mid-table next season. What a ride. Well, maybe. I mean, it's, you can never say for sure, but I've got to say the sort of sense of, next year will be a struggle. I'm not necessarily sharing that. I mean, the owners have planned things out well. Parkinson knows what he's doing, and thus far what they've aimed to do, they've executed beautifully. I'm quite sure we're moving quicker than the owners anticipated when they bought us, but having said that, they will have plans in place for how to prepare for the Championship and how to invest, and we have the money to invest. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how we deal with it, but there's no question there'll be a coherent strategy to deal with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. Wrexham fan again. Hey, Wrexham fan, you're all over this thing. Lincoln's going to be the biggest party away now. Fancy dress even? Enjoy it, travelling Reds all. Well, of course, I'm sure you're aware in saying that, obviously, that our last ever game in the Football League before relegation to the National League was at Lincoln, and with that brilliant, ironic, dark humour football fans have, we packed out the away and we took 600 to a dead game. We were already relegated in fancy dress to celebrate our last game in the Football League. And isn't it wonderful? Isn't it beautiful symmetry? that we'll now go there, and it is, believe it or not, 17 years to the day since that Lincoln game in the Football League. We'll go there again, and we'll celebrate genuinely, with no irony, having it made history and returned to a level, like I said, we've only been at for 4 years in our entire history. Madness, isn't it? Paul B says, do you ever get nervous before calling a big game? Right, now then, that's an interesting question. I'm going to take it on 2 levels. I suspect you're looking for one. Do I get nervous in terms of how well Wrexham will do? I reckon is where you're driving at, and I'm sort of referring you back to the previous comment about me being fairly even temperamented. I don't really all that much. I do a little. I tend to feel a little bit edgy before, how good are these opponents? When I write the previews for the club website, I'll read it and I'll think, okay, yeah, okay, I'm seeing things about them that I respect. They could be difficult to beat. But I don't think it really goes much further than that. And once the game starts, I'm feeling, yeah, okay, look, we're able to deal with this. We'll be okay. Do I get nervous personally before broadcasting? Not anymore. Look how old I am. I'm often distracted by weird technical issues, and I'm phoning people up to say, hello there, have you pressed the correct button at your end? Because there's no link on the website or whatever. So because of that, actually that's annoying, but it takes your mind off the worries of a match or a broadcast, you know what I mean? Ohio Wrexham says, what an absolutely magnificent run that still continues. Can we add another 2B to continue it? It's going to be exciting to find out. I mean, all logic says no. But all logic says no to every single darn thing that has happened to this club. All logic says that, Rob and Ryan are not going to decide to buy Wrexham Football Club. We're not going to be getting these fabulous players coming in. We're not going to set a record of consecutive promotions. We're not going to have A-listers coming just to watch our team play football. Does it logically make sense? No. But can you take anything off the table at the moment? No. And that's why, in this sort of grim time, it's just awesome that Wrexham fans are at liberty to dream, because we don't know where the upper ceiling is, and that's an amazing thing, isn't it? Steve Kernsley again says, here's another reason I'm pulling for Stockport to go up with us, and it's a story from The Guardian, the night David Bowie slept on a Stockport railway platform. Now, I've read the story, and it's about Bowie before he was famous, being booked to play at a school's concert thing in Stockport, and then when he goes back to the railway station, this last train's gone, so he just sleeps in the railway station. I don't think that's enough of a reason to root for Stockport, and I know if Mr. Bowie could comment on that himself, he'd probably say, no, I don't want you to support Stockport County. That turned out more into a Jagger, didn't it, really? I'm not happy with that impersonation now. I'd like to withdraw it from the record, if that's okay. Yeah? Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing we can do. That's better. Anyway, although he feels planet Earth is blue, I really don't think that David Bowie was a Stockport County fan. He was from South London. It's probably the blue is referring to Millwall, not Stockport. Although I will say that when I was a teacher, there was this book that we read, and there was a phrase in it that I could not believe, where it talked about the button, the setting on a toaster. It called a brown control, and I thought this was nonsense. And I said to the kids, "What's a brown control?" And then a 12-year-old child, showing the beauty of the internet, a 12-year-old child in 2015 says to me, "Brown control to Major Tom, eh, sir?" And I was like, oh my god, that's epic. You're a little kid, but you know Bowie. You can make puns about Bowie. That is brilliant. Brown control to Major Tom. Beautiful. So I saluted her then, and I salute her again now, even though she won't listen to hear this. I don't know. Just out of interest, the playoff positions will be determined on Saturday. We know 3 of the teams, although not what order they're going to be in. They could be in any order because there's only 2 points between them. And the top 2, Wycombe and Stockport, who are only separated by 1 goal in goal difference, equal on points, are playing each other at Wycombe. And then Charlton are 2 points behind. Their goal difference has suffered a little because some upstart punks beat them 3-0 on Saturday. So any of those 3 could change around. It's all feasible. Out of those 3, I've got to be honest and say Stockport's the one I least want to go up. No offence, Stockport County, but they're local rivals. I guess it continues the rivalry, to be fair, but I don't know, local rivals, you sort of think, yeah, I don't know. When I'm traipsing somewhere miles away, I'll probably change your mind, won't I? I think that I sort of, my heart says Wycombe, because fair play, they've been trying to win the title all season. I feel sorry for them that it's fallen away at the end. And then the other 6th place will be a straight shootout between Reading, who are at home, and if they win it, they should be fine and be in the playoffs, or Orient, who did us such a big favour last weekend. They're level on points, but Reading have a better goal difference, and they've got a home match. And I have sympathy for both those clubs, good clubs. Reading have gone through so much rubbish off the pitch that I kind of would like it if they went up as well. But anyway, we'll see. We don't have to worry about that too much, do we? Control. King Arthur's Magic Hands, I do like that name, says, in a few months Wrexham will be playing in a new league. Over the last few years these promotions have led to new kit designs. My question for the other fans is, what would you like to see in new kits? For myself, I love the current kits and be happy to stay with them. It's interesting, in Britain about 20 years ago it was a big controversy that clubs changed their kits every summer, and there was talk, I don't think they did, that Tony Blair's Labour government was going to enforce like a sell-by date on football shirts, where you had to say how long you would have this shirt. So some teams are keeping them for more than 1 year, but it slowly became less popular. And it was a big controversy in football, the cost of buying your kid a kit every year. It isn't anymore. People seem to have just accepted, okay, that's the way it goes. And now everybody changes all their kits every season, apart from very unusual circumstances. So I strongly think that, well, no, we will have a new kit next season because that's what everybody else does. But I also know it's nice because an awful lot of clubs just get off the peg versions in their colours of a kit if you're not in the Premier League, but we don't. We have bespoke kits created for us. We have creative people who deeply research what means something to the fans and to the area, and they go from there. So that's good, I think. You know, we have a bespoke special kit each year with logic behind it, and I think that's something to enjoy, I think. Well, I accept it's not cheap to buy them. That's it. That's the end of the pod. God blimey, doesn't time fly when you're waffling on in your converted garage? I tell you what, it was a joy going up. It's been a joy sharing it with you guys. Keep those questions coming. There'll be another AskWxm next week. I'm keeping going through the summer, so keep those questions coming in. And Final Whistle Weekly will be coming out as well on Thursday, in which we'll chat about, I don't know, I'm sure something happened over the weekend. Until then, adios muchachos. I am Mark Griffiths.